Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Rick's Garage, and this is the continuation of the Ducati motorcycle from Tamiya. This is at the completion of step number 5. So what you're seeing here is that completion. You've got the chain in there and a couple other detail parts have been installed. From a Tamiya kit standpoint, all the pieces went in just fine. I actually had no problem in assembling any of the pieces. They went in tried and true. There are a couple of fiddly parts, such as this part here is a little fiddly because it's so small and where it actually goes in on the bike, which is right here. A little bit hard to get in nice and straight because of where it's at. And then also too, the brake pad here was a little bit difficult to get in, only because of not only that it's so small, but because the posts on this piece are quite small and the depth of the holes where the posts go into on this piece are quite shallow. So getting that nice and straight was a little difficult, but if taking your time, you should have no problem on getting that in. My biggest problem was the chain. I wasn't able to complete it in terms of making a metal chain. So I'm going to zoom in just a bit here so you can see better. What you have to do is that these posts have to go in completely straight. They can't be crooked at all. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to match the top and the bottom, or the top on top of these posts, and also not able to get the teeth in between the posts that are on the gears. When I was assembling the piece, I think my biggest mistake was I was looking down at the piece as I was placing the posts into their corresponding holes on the bottom template chain, which is this piece right here. I wasn't noticing that these posts were actually going in crooked. So after they were all glued in and solid, then I tried to get the gears installed, and then trying to place the top part of the chain on top of these posts, it just wouldn't work. The more I tried to complete the piece, the more I was twisting it, bending it. It was just a total disaster. So if anybody out there has a secret on how to complete this chain so that all the posts are straight and firm and glued in, and also as you're assembling it so that these posts aren't pinging off as you're trying to put all the other posts in, please let me know your secret or your method on doing this in the comment section below, because I do plan on doing this bike again, and I'm also doing another bike for a friend of mine, and I would really love to be able to complete this this chain. But I failed in it, wasn't able to do it, and that failure actually cost me about 3, maybe 4 hours of work. I was really frustrated. But what I did do was I did successfully, I think, make it look like I've got a metal chain. And you can see how it's reflecting off the light there. And the whole entire piece, including that back gear, looks like it's all metal. The way I achieved that was on the detail parts, there are these little link pieces that you can put on top of the plastic, and or if you were successful, on top of the chain detail. So it actually gives more of a 3D look to the chain when you're adding these parts to it, and it does call for doing that on the instructions to add more links. Right here, you'll see here's a link that's going on top, and here's another link here. So it does call for doing that. What I was able to do, though, instead, was I took these pieces here and I glued them on top of the plastic, which is why you see it glittering in the light, to make it look like that's a real chain. And that worked out just fine. Here's the back side here, too. It did it on the back. So they give you enough to do the entire chain front and back. Then after all the weathering and painting of the gear here on the side, I also added some metal pieces that go on top of the back gear, which are these pieces here. And then I was able to complete the chain assembly that way using the plastic part, because you can see here on the bottom, those are not, that's all plastic right there. This is all the plastic part down here. I did try to bring out those posts in the plastic by using the Tamiya weathering silver powder. They worked a little bit. I may want to do a little bit more on that, but right now that's how the chain is looking. I like the fact that it does look like a metal chain, I think, and I believe that I've got the gear looking pretty good, that it's metal and an actual real gear. So that being said, I was successful in that, but I totally failed in assembling the tire metal chain. So if anybody has a secret on how to do this, please let me know in the comment section below. I really would appreciate it. I was successful without really any too much problem on creating the brake disc. But there is some modifications that you need to do to the metal. The first thing that they want you to do is they want you to cut out the middle section of the brake disc. Okay? And this is the part right here that is going to attach to the wheel on the back. The wheel here, you can see it here on there are some indents here, and there's an indent there. I don't know if you can see that. There's actually 4 of them. And that's what is going to go on top of these lugs that are on the brake, and they're going to fit inside of here so that when the wheel turns, the brake disc will also turn. In order to achieve that, though, this piece here and this piece here, the holes are not big enough to go over the lugs on this piece. So you have to drill out the holes a little bit larger. And I started off with a 0.8 millimeter drill bit, and to enlarge the holes a little. And then I took an auger file from my Dremel kit and was able to then fine-tune the diameter of the holes so that they would fit over the lugs here. When I was done with that, when I completed that process, all these pieces here fit very tight against this piece here, so that there is no glue at all in assembling this brake disc. The other thing that you have to be aware of is that this kit was designed to use the plastic part, so that when you put it onto the bike like this, okay, it fits right there on the underneath the brake disc, or on the brake pad right here. Fits right in there without a problem. But notice how thin the brake disc is on the detail. Okay, that metal is very, very thin. So you have to compensate for that. When you're putting all these parts together, and all these parts are assembled together, it makes this part thicker than this part. So after you're done assembling the detail kit and you try to install it, the disc actually fits right about there. You see how it's going right in the middle of the brake pad? You're never going to get this disc to go underneath that like that, unless you sand down this piece, which is what I did. I sanded it down. Okay? And that's how thin I sanded it down to. Almost the thickness of the metal part. But you need this plastic piece because it has the lugs on the back that are going to go into the wheel here on the back, so that when the wheel turns, the brake disc will also turn at the same time. So you need to sand that down real smooth and thin. And there's also some lugs on the back, little square lugs on the back of this. I don't know what they're for or why they're there from a stock part, but they need to be removed and sanded all the way down flush to this. so that when you put this disc onto the bike, it goes underneath that brake pad like that. There you go, and fits. On the plasma channel, that was not displayed or even indicated that that's what needed to be done. I don't know if he had to do that. Maybe I assembled it wrong. I don't know, but the only way for me to get this onto this piece here correctly so that it fits like that was to sand this piece down. Okay, so that's my experience on step number 5 with the detail kit, and other than that, everything went just fine. I was able to at least complete one of the detail kits, which is the brake. I thought that was a great success, and I thought that I was able to at least make the chain look like it's metal, and you can see how it reflects off. So at least I was able to get that far and kind of fake the chain a little bit. Next up, when we start to resume the build, we are going to be doing the rear damper, which I think is just some suspension because there's a spring involved here. So we'll be constructing this, and then on step number 7 is when we take that piece and actually apply it to the bike and adding a couple of detail parts. And then step number 8 looks like it's also a quick assembly. We're just adding a couple of detail parts and some hoses. So I think I might be doing 6, 7, and 8 all in one video. We'll see what happens when I get to those stages, but that's where we're at right now. This is the completion again of step number 5. I will put this on a 360 review at the end of the video. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, have a great day. Always have fun in your workshop, and have a happy new year. And we'll see you next year. Take care.